I grew up as a farmer, and we take care of the land. That's kind of what you do. And I remember sitting with my wife one day, looking at our cornfield, saying, we've got 18 acres of corn planted. It was beautiful. And we said, what could we do with this? And I suggested we make bourbon. A lot of people think bourbon is Kentucky. Hats off to everything that comes out of that state. But they weren't the first guys to make it. Bourbon was born in St. Mary's County, Maryland. In about the late 18th century, there was a migration of people settling the western part of the United States, and they took to Kentucky the whiskey that was being produced locally in St. Mary's County. It was basically the bourbon mash bill, and that's what we're doing at Tobacco Barn Distillery. We're bringing bourbon back home. What makes Tobacco Barn Distillery different? Our mash bill is historically accurate for what Marylanders would have been drinking in the mid-18th century, which means 1 barrel a week. So we're not going to make a lot of it, but we're committed to making all natural products and making it as much as possible from products that we produce on our own farm or we buy from our neighbors. We started Tobacco Barn Distillery to make bourbon. So that's what we're committed to. But at the same time, we have a nautical heritage here. One of my partners, Scotty, is a retired 2-star admiral.
In a weak moment, I got Sean and Dan to agree to making a rum because I'm a Navy guy.
We started making rum initially to commission the Zimwalt. And that's when we first got kind of involved in Baltimore and how we could use some of the products in Maryland to make a full 100% Maryland product. Domino sugars in Baltimore. Their premium grade of molasses is what we use to make our rum.
When Scott was looking for a new charity for us to be involved with, deciding to do it with historic ships was fantastic.
We're back putting rum on a Navy ship, first time in 150 years, and it sits at the very lowest level of the Constellation in Baltimore Harbor.
And it's going to sit there, and it slowly rocks back and forth.
So you get a constant agitation coupled with a pretty significant temperature change. The result is that the rum matures quicker. And the reason we do that is we're making a Navy-style rum that tastes and drinks more like a bourbon.
It's our historical significance in Maryland from being a maritime state. We were built because of the Port of Baltimore. We have such great attributes of a maritime society in Maryland. I wanted to harken back to that.
It's a neat opportunity to make a product that hasn't been really produced in this country for 150 years. And at the same time, we generate funds to give back to the historic ships of Baltimore and keep that mission alive and keep these ships alive. So we're the only distillery that's green registered in the state of Maryland. A lot of distilleries, and this is truly shocking, cool their entire operation with potable water from a municipal supply that goes right down the drain. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of gallons of water that's wasted in these operations. We don't waste anything. So using a geothermal system, we recapture about 40% of our energy and use that to preheat the water for the next time we cook. At the same time, every gallon of water we use to cool our operation is recycled and recooled. The other part of it is solar.
We have a solar array on the roof of one of the buildings. We dump that back into the grid, and that helps offset a significant portion of the electricity that we use. We think that everybody that buys it knows it was born of people that believe in what they're doing and want everyone to share that experience.
My life is up at 4 a.m., sometimes leaving the distillery at 3 a.m. Every 6 weeks we unload 2,000 or 3,000 pounds of grain, and we do that by picking sacks up and putting them on our shoulders and walking upstairs. So this is something that requires a commitment to actually doing it. It's not easy, but it's very satisfying.
Even on a bad day when pumps are leaking and stuff is spilling, you know, we're still with people that we care about. It's the sharing, it's the bringing the people together that's important to us. It's about the experience of people getting together and sharing life, and that's why we did it.
I wanted to produce a bourbon that we could drink with our family and friends 10 years from now and say, this is the best bourbon you can ever drink.